What's up, guys? Your boy, 22K13. I'm going to talk about 10 things we learned from the WWE Elimination Chamber. Pay-per-views are coming thick and fast on the WWE Network. It was only a matter of weeks ago that the company presented Payback, and it only be another fortnight before Money in the Bank returns to screen. In the interim, WWE decided to bring back the concept of the Elimination Chamber, meaning the network had been stacked with action over the past month. In truth, if the promotion would still rely on a more traditional method of selling shows, this glut of special events would seem more than a trifle unnecessary. But the truth is that the WWE Network allowed Vince McMahon and company to present this amount of content, even if it does at times seem like overkill. Thankfully, when the action is as enjoyable as it has been recently, there shouldn't be too many complaints. Money in the Bank may only be a few weeks away, but what did fans learn from Elimination Chamber? Better yet, just how will this event feed into the ladder match heavy feel of the upcoming show? There's a lot to take from the Elimination Chamber event itself, and the actual gimmick lends nicely to having a lot to talk about, something which is true of last night's Super Show. And this is coming from WhatCulture.com. Alright, number 10. The Tag Team Chamber's ideas has legs. Given that it was the first match of its kind, the Tag Team Elimination Chamber bout was a rip-roaring success. All in all, the duo division in WWE has been roundly criticized over the past few years, mainly because the creative team showed about as much attention to it as its unwanted Christmas present still sitting underneath the tree. Thankfully, that mindset seems to have shifted somewhat, and the product is better for it. At Elimination Chamber, the New Day emerged victorious, their WWE Tag Team titles still intact, but not before engaging in a wholly memorable match which kicked off the main portion of the show in entertaining fashion. It was rather obvious that Los Matadores was the expendable unit in the match. They were never realistic challengers, but every other team had moments to shine. For a spell, the Ascension looked dominant, the Lucha Dragon spectacular, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro solid, and even the primetime player came out of the affair looking slick. The New Day all fired on all cylinders right now. However, it be nice to think that next year WWE will elect to promote another one of these matches because it was certainly mission accomplished here. Number 9. The King of the Ring already means nothing. It was only in late April that Bad News Barrett traded one marker for another, becoming King Barrett by winning the 2015 version of the King of the Ring tournament. Now in early June, the gimmick is already null and void, pretty much rendering the entire exercise utterly pointless, and yet another nail hammer into the King of the Ring coffin, which is truly sad to say. At Elimination Chamber, Barrett was allowed to look strong for a short period, hammering Dolph Ziggler and attacking R-Truth in his chamber. But by the time he had accidentally released Mark Henry from his pod, the fun and game was just about over for the Englishman. Unfortunately for King Barrett, he came across as more of a paper in the Elimination Chamber match to crown a new Intercontinental Champion. Even though he held the belt previously, Barrett didn't really look like a strong contender to bag the gold once more, which showed how far he's fallen in recent times, something the King gimmick hasn't stopped from happening. Number 8. NXT is incredibly over. Credit where credit is due. WWE have hit the ball firmly out of the park with NXT. The brand has grown immeasurably over the past year or so, becoming an essential part of the WWE Network lineup, and deservedly so. Triple H should be given the nod here because he's the one who has pushed the NXT concept to the forefront and is starting to pay off on the main roster too. At Elimination Chamber, fans in attendance were enthusiastic each and every time a performer closely associated with the developmental system burst onto the scene, which is really a great barometer of how over the NXT brand is with the WWE audience. As if that wasn't enough, fans around ringside chanted NXT over and over several times throughout the show, which is fantastic news for management. Several years ago, the mere idea of a match such as Bo Dallas vs. Neville getting a feature spot on a WWE pay-per-view would have been laughed at. But here it is happening. That can only be viewed as a good thing, especially when such matches are handed time to think in with the crowd. Number 7. Daniel Bryan's book is already a guaranteed big seller. In July, WWE will help publish a tell-all story penned by none other than Daniel Bryan. It's actually quite fascinating to think that Bryan is getting the book treatment, because the man has only really been in the WWE system for around 5 years or so. But he has achieved so much in that short period and become one of the best loved wrestlers in the entire company. Just hearing the reaction to Bryan talking about his book during an appearance on Mid TV during the Elimination Chamber kickoff show indicate that the work is going to sell by the truckload. There's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't. Bryan has an incredible relationship with wrestling fans young and old, and has forged a connection with WWE fan base which few can claim. His future may still be up in the air, but Daniel Bryan remains one of the biggest pop of the night, guaranteed. It was no different at Elimination Chamber, and even though he was only there for that short segment with The Miz, as well as to present the Intercontinental title, fans went nuts for him, just as they will to read his story. Number 6. Mark Henry was Rusev's replacement, going down with a legitimate nasty injury on last week's episode of SmackDown. Rusev was ruled out of the Intercontinental title Elimination Chamber match, and WWE didn't bother to announce his replacement until the bout was just about ready to go. Emerging from the shadows, Mark Henry was installed as the quick fix to ease the literal pain of the Bulgarian leg injury. It's hard to imagine that Rusev would have suffered the same fate as Henry in the match, never really being taken seriously as the guy who was going to walk away with the Intercontinental title over his shoulder, but at least his entry did provoke a reaction from the fans in attendance. In all likelihood, WWE would have much preferred Rusev to be fit, healthy, and able to compete. But his ankle was in such a state that the company wasn't prepared to take any risk. Rusev could have hobbled to the ring and been eliminated early with his injury as an excuse. But WWE had bigger plans for him and that Henry was an ideal replacement in the short term, even if it mucked up the storyline thread between Lana, Rusev, and Dolph Ziggler a little. Number 5. The commentary was the best for months. Commentary is a big problem in modern day pro wrestling because things move at a quicker pace than ever before, and announcers have so much to say before they can even focus on the match or angle taking place inside the ring. It's understandable that they spend so much time talking about other things, but it can often be frustrating for those watching who really don't want to be told about what new foods Sonic drives and have while Roman Reigns is engaged in battle with Sheamus, for example. Thankfully, at Elimination Chamber, Michael Cole, JBL, and Jerry Lawler got things 100% right, and the show had a much better flow as a result, keeping their usual banter and tangent taken to a minimum. All three seemed invested in each match, eager to explain the story at hand and why people should care about what was in front of them. That's the way it should be, and that kind of commentary should be encouraged going forward. JBL can sometimes grate with his weird switches between being a straight announcer and cheering for the heels, but he was on fire at Elimination Chamber, getting the right balance. As a consequence, matches were easier to digest and enjoy, which is obviously a major positive. Number 4. Give the diva time and they can work. And among all this talk of giving the WWE divas a chance, it seems that company officials are really overthinking things. People aren't expecting miracles. They simply want to see the females under contract getting a fair crack of the whip, showing what they can do inside the ring and being allowed to have actual characters which don't merely require them to be snide bitches who can't get along with other women and who will bat their eyelid at any male WWE star who deem them attractive. Basically, all the divas require is a little bit of respect and a platform to showcase that their skills are right up there with the men. 2-minute matches and paper-thin characters are inexcusable, especially given how much TV time WWE have to fill each week. Women should be a much bigger part of things than they are. Cheerfully, Paige, Naomi, and Nikki Bella were handed sufficient time to piece together something worthwhile at Elimination Chamber. Not so shockingly, this resulted in fans being excited by their match, paying attention because it was obvious the writing staff was doing the same. More of this kind of thing and the Diva division will improve remarkably. Number 3. WWE really need to do something about spot calling. On the other end of the scale, moving away from the cheerful notion that WWE are making strides with female performers, someone really needs to have a word with some of the more senior male stars on the roster. Whether the microphones are too sensitive, turned up way too loud, or these guys are simply being careless. There are far too many times when the viewers at home can hear wrestlers calling spots. It's quite mentally jarring to loudly hear John Cena proclaim that he going to Irish whip, duck under, run the rope, and shoulder tackle Kevin Owens, before seeing that exact sequence play out seconds later. It all happened with alarming regularity, and there's absolutely no reason for it. So while the booming voices, surely if fans at home can hear these words, people around ringside must be able to, and it ruined the whole drama of the match. Worse yet, WWE production staff seem to enjoy zooming in on wrestlers laying on the mat, staring at their opponent following a submission move or high impact bump, clearly relaying information to their rival or the referee about what to do next. Dolph Ziggler asserting that Ryback should nail him by shouting. Clothesline me at the top of his voice is rather funky and shouldn't be happening in WWE. Number 2. Dean Ambrose is the new anti-hero. Make no mistake about it, there's a real future for Dean Ambrose as almost a modern-day Stone Cold Steve Austin in WWE. No, Ambrose may never reach the height that Austin did, and there's little chance blankly copying Austin's tactics will work in the same way it did in the late 90s, but Ambrose had a coolness to him that relates over to the fans. People want to see him do well, which is pretty rare for a babyface in 2015. Part of the guy appeal is that he's not a happy-go-lucky kind of chap, something fans pick up on. Okay, so nobody really wants to see yet another anti-hero babyface going up against an authority figure, but Dean Ambrose doesn't necessarily need to stop there. It seems unlikely, but what to stop Ambrose from stringing Roman Reigns along before cruelly kicking him to the curb when he outlived his youthfulness? That's the kind of thing Austin was famous for. Even though the Rattlesnake had a number of successful tag team partners, he was never really booked to be best chum with them, giving him a lone wolf aura that could also work for Ambrose. And number one, WWE are serious about Kevin Owens. Many fans of the man were thrilled that Kevin Owens was booked to lay out John Cena on a recent episode of Monday Night Raw, and those people were even more excited when a match was scheduled between both men at Elimination Chamber. Even so, few could have predicted that it would be Owens who would leave with his hands raised in victory, cutting a victorious promo afterward, which made him look like a genuine badass. This is how you book a new star. Immediately programming him, obviously one of the biggest names around, having him look dominant, booking the babyface to come roaring back at him. Then having the newcomer emerge ultimately victorious. Kevin Owens is a much bigger deal for having worked with John Cena, and that would have still been true had he lost on the pay-per-view. The fact he didn't, instead winning, shows how much faith WWE has in his ability. Hardcore wrestling fans already knew who the guy was, watching him for years in companies like ROH. But now the more casual WWE market are aware of him, even Triple H casually slipping him into conversation during a backstage promo with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns show how high management are on Owens. Well, that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.